Hey everyone, Fairy here. You are hearing me from the Literary Nook by Fairy. Welcome back again to our YouTube channel. Before going further and starting our today's video, don't forget to subscribe our channel, like our videos and share it with your family and friends. Today I'll discuss about Nora Helmer, the heroine of the famous play A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. The character of Nora Helmer in this play is elaborately drawn. The portrayal, besides being elaborate, is also realistic and vivid. An author has actually made her, Nora Helmer, live before us in the pages of this play. There is a remarkable development in her character and in her personality before our very eyes while reading this play. During the brief period of 3 days, over which the action of the play extends, definitely she almost undergoes a transformation. At the end of the play, she is a being far different from woman what she was at the beginning. She is portrayed in varied relations, for example, her relation with her children, with moneylender Crockstead, in her relation with, with her friend Christine Linde, in her relation with an admirer and a secret lover, Dr. Rank, and in her relation with the old nurse who had brought her up and who is now bringing up her children also. And above all, as we can say, in her relation with her husband, the main hero of the play. When the play begins, we found her in a very merry mood. It was the Christmas Eve, and she has just come back from the Christmas shopping. She is in a carefree mood. She is humming cheerfully to herself. She does not even seem to have least worry in her life, and even her financial worries seems to have her at an end because her husband is going to take up a new highly paid job with effect from the New Year's Day. At the end of the play, however, we see the same woman in a serious, somber mood, making her exit from her husband's home and going to face an uncertain future. Much has happened during these 3 days. A vast change has taken place in her thinking, in her outlook upon the life. Indeed, the change is most radical, and as we can say, one which we didn't even expect in the least at the beginning of the play. Nora, in her relationship with her husband, is seen at the beginning as behaving like a conventional kind of wife. She fully responds to his terms of endearment when he calls her as his little skylark, his little singing bird, or darling little wife, and so on. As he advised her not to eat sweets which can spoil her teeth, she avoids macarons and other confectionaries in his presence and giving him the impression that she doesn't even eat these things at all. She spends more money on household needs than should be spent, in his opinion, but she does not make an issue of it with him. And when he fell seriously ill, she took him to Italy for recovery, even though she had to obtain the money by a dubious way. She feels not only happy but also proud at the thought that Helmer has got a new job with a big salary and he'll now have authority over a large number of employees at the bank. She's always ready to take his instructions, like in her case of dresses. Even though, in short, we can say that she's a kind of loving and accommodating wife, a kind of wife with whom a man like Helmer would be more than ever satisfied. However, we see a different side of Nora's character when she finds Helma not coming up to her expectations as a husband at a crucial time in their lives. Helma's reaction to the disclosure of her life's secret comes as a great shock to her, while she had expected him to take the whole blame of her guilty action upon himself and thus to protect her. But he has become indignant. She finds that he is not that kind of man she had thought him to be. When he goes through Crockstead's second letter, his reaction now is as disappointing to her as his reaction to the first letter was. Now, when he is absolutely safe, he feels self complacent again and begins to talk to her again in a patronizing manner. So his whole conduct in the face of two letters from Crockstead is most odious to Nora. Something within her which had lain dormant is now roused. Something latent in her character comes to the surface. She realizes that she was not meant to be a possession in the hands of her husband. She discovers that she is a human being in her own right and not an item of property belonging to her husband. There has always been a mutinous instinct in her which has so far been kept in check by her sense of conventional property. The social decorum, according to which she had always behaved, now seems to her to be an unfair impression or imposition upon a woman. Her newly awakened sense of her own identity overcomes and completely swamps her previous conventional notion of a woman's and a wife's duties in life. So she now tells her husband that her most sacred duty is not to him or her children but to herself. She tells him that both he and her father had been unfair to her. Her father had treated her as a doll child, while he has been treating her as a doll wife. So, in her father's home, she had felt compelled to adopt her father's reviews and opinions, and in her husband's home, she has so far been feeling compelled to adopt her husband's reviews and his taste. She tells Helmer that now she has realized that she is first and foremost an individual who must think over things independently and come to her own conclusions. She now rejects Helmer's role as her preceptor and as her educator. So she says that she would educate herself by a first hand experience of the world. Even what religion and morality tells her would not be acceptable to her without her personal scrutiny of the principles they have to teach her. She tells Helmer that she has ceased to love him now because he has proved to be selfish and self centered. She announces her decision to leave him, to leave his house, even though to leave her children. She actually steps out of the house, slamming the outer door behind her. At the end of the play, Nora shows herself to be an anticipated woman. A woman who has liberated herself from the involvements of domestic life in order to discover herself and to stand on her own legs. There is nothing impossible or incredible about her decision at the end, when she describes her conventional ideas of marriage and declares her independence from her husband's control. That was the time when wives were subservient to their husbands and when they could not question the judgment of their husbands. So, for a long time, Nora had obeyed the social code which demanded from her a complete subordination to her husband, but a time comes when she discovers that in her relationship with him, all the sacrifices have to be made by her and none by him. She cannot continue to play the second fiddle to a husband who has turned out to be egocentric and conceited. She finds that all his assurance of protecting and guiding her are bankum and that his moral principles are shallow and fragile. Her action in leaving him is therefore perfectly understandable and justifiable. There is nothing utopian in her trying to establish her own identity in the world. Her action is perfectly convincing. In fact, the whole portrayal of this woman is splendidly handled. She is not a figment of the fancy but a real woman. In her protest against her husband's possessive attitude towards her, she symbolizes the feminine revolt against male domination. Today, the Western woman has come into her own and is almost man's equal, but a fully century had to elapse before Nora's concept and dream of female independence could be translated into reality. That was all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay connected for more. Do like, share, and subscribe our channel. Me, Fairy, from the Literary Nook by Fairy, signing off.